It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Race Anything, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, real quick before we get into it, all of my pro settings are on my website, militiagamingco.com. Click on Motorfest Tools from the top, and there you'll find it. Let's get into it, man. The Summit Bundle this week is $1 million, and you get 4 different cars. The Creator's Concept Sprewmeister SM71 Alpha GP car, the Proto Buggy A1 Rally Raid car, the Corvette C8R racing car, and the Chevrolet 3100 street car. There's a couple of additional vehicles you will need. You're going to need a racing car with a score breaker set. Doesn't really matter. As long as you have a score breaker set, you can use whatever racing car you want. You're also going to need a boat with a score breaker set. Again, you can use whatever boat you want. And then you're going to need a Street 1 car. I suggest the 911 Carrera RS 2.7. For that one, you're going to need a Nitro Chemist set with Pure and Frenetic. All right, the keys to the summit are absolutely the shortcuts. There's a lot of different ones that you're going to need to take in basically all of these routes. And on certain events, if you have a friend who can give you slipstream, that's going to make a big difference as well. All right, the first event is called Mini versus KTM. And this one is featuring the brand new Mini that just got dropped with the Year 2 pass for this month. This car will be buyable as of next week, I think, for the people who don't have the Year 2 pass. If you got the Year 2 pass, it should just be in your inventory. Now let's take a look at this strategy for this one. Now, obviously, slipstream is going to play a big factor in this. We did it with slip and without, and it meant a difference of about 4 seconds. But here's the thing. This is one of those drag races. You have these 3 lights in front of you. When the light pops on, that's when you hit the trigger. You do it for all 3 of those, and that provides you your NOS for the event. Now, there's another fast start mechanic as well, and that is you don't want to touch the gas until the light goes on. So here we go. We get our NOS, second NOS, third NOS, and then you're waiting for the go to light up. Now, here's the thing. If you've got a slipstream partner, the person who starts the event will not be able to start at the same time as the other guy. I don't know why, it's just glitched. That being said, it provides you a pretty good slipstream for the event. So if you have somebody to help you out, it does make a big difference. Anyways, you're gonna wait until this thing goes. As soon as you see the light on go, that's when you hit the trigger. The faster you can do that, you're gonna guarantee yourself the boost at the very beginning. I would upshift immediately and hit your NOS immediately. I'm already in 5th gear here, in 6th, and then we're off and running. And by this time, I'm just trying to help Docfather get going. Because of the glitch on this, he doesn't have the opportunity to get his perfect NOSes at the beginning of the race. So he's got no NOS, and I have NOS. I don't know why it works out like that, but it is what it is. Anyways, in slip, this car goes over 200 miles an hour, which is nice to see for Street 1. This absolutely could be a contender for meta if it actually can handle well. It seems to potentially understeer a little bit, but I'm not really sure. We're going to see how this goes, but that's the strategy for this one. All right, let's go. All right, the next event is called Against the Odds, and this is using the Chevy 3100. This truck is god-awful, but I will say this. It does have a wide body kit in the customization. Make sure you apply that before you go on this race. It's going to need that wide body kit. It helps with the turning. So anyways, the very beginning of this race, really nothing special. Let's fast forward to the jump because that's the first thing here. So you want to get wide here on the left and cut back to the right. So you kind of want to stay to the right here and point your truck directly at the checkpoint. You can kind of see, once you hit this checkpoint, you can kind of see where this next checkpoint is going to be. Point your truck there, NOS in the air a lot, and then make sure you're set up to take this turn. You're going to drift this turn, stay in 3rd. Drift, stay in 3rd. Use some NOS, and then dump NOS here. You want to get all the way up to like 175 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour. When you go through here, just don't even slow down. Go straight towards the stairs and reset at the checkpoint. Then get wide over here for this corner. Slow down a lot. Get in 2nd gear. You're going to need to take this really, really slow because the truck just doesn't turn at all. All right, now you're off and NOSing. There's a little bump here in the curb. Make sure in 3rd. Hit this curb right here and NOS in the air. That'll get you a couple extra, 20 miles an hour or so. I go wide on this side and then drift. Now, the important thing is that you start your drift right after this pole. Where is it here? This one. So this pole here, it has like a banner on it and stuff. That is immovable. You can't knock this down. So don't run into that. It'll just stop you. It'll bring you to a dead stop. So right after this one, you're gonna start your drifts. And then get into 2nd gear and make your corner. Stay wide left over here and then cut back onto the sidewalk, and you're gonna NOS and do the whole thing over again. So drift again. If you're wondering how to drift like that, you're going to hit the NOS button and the handbrake at the same time as you turn in. So when you do that, the car jerks like that, or, you know, flicks. We call it flicking. So the car flicks into a drift like that and allows you to do it. Now I went pretty wide on this particular attempt, but I ended up with a good time anyway. So yeah, drift, stay in third, and NOS like crazy on this straight. All right, the next event is called the Ultimate Race, and this is with the Corvette C8R. Now this one also, Slipstream Partner will help you a lot in the beginning, but you know, you don't really need it. You can do good without it. My suggestion here, obviously, you're gonna need to make sure you get your NOS from all three of these lights. It fills up your, I think it's like 9 bars. You get 3 each time, 3, 3, and 3. See how you get like a little boost right there? You get to start like way ahead of the AI. You're gonna need to make sure you do that on the go. Now, I would not use NOS off the rip here. You don't want to use it until you get to a certain spot. There's certain sections of the course you want to use NOS, and you want to make sure you have enough for all 5 laps. So, all right, nothing tricky here. The NOS strategy is really the thing that you got to pay attention to. Hug this corner and then slow down for this one. Here's a NOS point here. When you get done with that turn and your car straightens out, shift immediately to 6th and use the NOS. Then you're going to hug this corner on the right here. And then drift into the wall and downshift to 3rd. You're just going to be using that wall. Then when you get right here on the straight, you're going to use NOS again. And those are your 2 NOS points around all of the laps. You're going to have those 2. So I know that sounds weird, but you've got 5 laps and you only have 9 bottles of NOS. So you got to spread them out two per lap. Now, this is going to leave you empty on one of the laps, and that's the very last lap. So let me get to that. You're going to use your last bottle of NOS. Let me see. When you go into this tunnel on the 5th lap, this is going to be your last bottle of NOS here. So that means you're not going to have any for the straight on the back straight. But that's okay, because as you can see, the finish line is literally right here. So that NOS is really not that effective anyway. So that's how you want to do it. That's the NOS strategy. And yeah, make sure you're taking that wall hit. That wall bounce is going to help you. Anyways, all right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Don't Bully the Rally, and this is with the Puma. So for this one, you're in a loaned car, so you don't have to worry too much about parts. But there's a few different little spots here where we want to talk about. So this first one here, you want to try to remain gripped if you can on this corner. You don't want to drift it too much. You can cut that flag a lot, and the same with this one. You can kind of cut inside. You want to really conserve your NOS for specific points, so don't use too much of it until you get closer to this jump. You want to use a little bit on this first jump, then get into 5th and use a lot here. Get yourself to 170. Notice I still have half a bottle, so I didn't use too much. You're going to use another little bit off of this jump here, and then you kind of stay right there. Try to, you know, get off the gas here, control your speed a little bit. I drifted it. You can definitely grip that corner and, you know, maintain speed. Notice my little taps of NOS. I'm not using too much of it. And a little tap here, and then a big one here to get over the dome. You're going to want to angle your car here to miss the building, but you want to stay to the right here so you can take this turn, cut the corner. Obviously, you're cutting to the right on this one. On this turn right here, you're going to go in between the building and the pylon here, this support. You're going to go right here in between. It seems like it's a difficult thing to hit, but all you have to do is do it once or twice. It's kind of a big gap. You'll get it. Anyways, it helps you maintain a lot of speed through here. On this section here, at about 48, 49%, hug the tree on the left. Go straight to the checkpoint and reset. And if you don't know how to reset, you got to go to your difficulty settings and turn off rewind. And then when you hit the rewind button, it'll actually reset you. As we go through here, just make sure you're using NOS on the jumps. On this turn up here, you're going to want to drift it and go to the left of the flags. Get yourself back on the road. I really messed this up. I could have saved some time if I had stayed on the road. You're going to cut this corner as well. And then there's really nothing more than just NOS management from here. Notice my NOS really doesn't get below about 3/4. It's just lots of little NOS taps. You can keep a lot of good speed through here. So let's keep moving, keep moving. All right. And then you can cut the grass right here. Cut to the right of the flag and get up the hill here. and you're pretty much done. On this last turn, you can sort of gutter this here in the sand. That'll help you a little bit. NOS to the finish. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Raid versus Cross, and this is exactly the same as the other drag race. If you have a slipstream partner, it's good. You got to get all 3 of your lights to make sure you get your NOS. When the go lights up, make sure you hit the trigger so you get that little bonus. These cars don't accelerate very well, but you know, like I said, as long as you have that slipstream partner, you're probably going to be doing pretty well. That's kind of it. And just move on from here. All right, the last event is called Motorsports Confrontation, and this is with that Sprühmeister AGP car. This driver here in the Lamborghini is very annoying. They always like cut to the right. I would suggest just like waiting for just a split second and then going around them. It's just annoying for them to just constantly keep running you into the wall. So I had that issue, so I just waited a little bit. There's not a lot of like super tricky spots on here, but I do recommend, if you can handle it, I recommend switching to direct mode. Your time will improve significantly if you can figure out a way to control the car. Now, out of all of the classes in Motorfest, AGP is going to be the easiest one to control with direct mode. Everything else gets a little bit squirrely, and AGP is squirrely too, but this is going to help you a lot in the hairpins. The car just doesn't want to turn. It understeers a lot in the hairpins. Takes forever to get the car to turn, and so you end up having to slow down a lot more if you don't have direct mode on. So this is one of those cases where I strongly recommend it. I don't play with direct mode, but I did in this event because I knew it could help me gain a very specific advantage. So anyways, let's fast forward and see if there's any like traditional cuts that we can talk about. Right here after 11%, you'll cut across the grass. It's pretty obvious. There's a checkpoint that you're going for. Let's fast forward here. All right, after this hairpin at 40, you're going to go across the grass here. Just cut to the right. It's a little bit dark. It's hard to see, but there is a cut there. All right, something I think is worth noting is your NOS strategies. So in AGP, you can really shift up to 8 like really fast and then just blast your NOS and you'll get to top speed. So you can do that here when you get down the hill, and definitely in other places in this race. If you have the opportunity to get into 8th and blast NOS, you will definitely be getting faster times. It's just more effective. So notice I'm in 8th and then I just go straight to almost top speed basically. Made a mistake there, but you know, it didn't really hurt me that much. I can just keep getting the top speed super easy in AGP. So don't be afraid to shift up very early on in 8th gear. Aside from that, there's really not a lot to talk about with this race. It's just keeping your car on the road and using your NOS effectively. You got a lot of NOS, and AGP is really nice for NOS, so definitely use that. All right, let's move on to the feats. All right, I'll let my feats play out as always. I'll be back with the final scores. right, here are my final scores. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you DM me with any questions you might have about this summit. I really appreciate you guys tuning into this every week, and I hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.